Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be going through a grade 8 test. This is the kind of test that you can expect to see at the end of term 1. I'm going to be working through each of the questions, showing you the step-by-step answers. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comments. So this question paper has a multiple choice section and then has some slightly longer questions. And for this kind of paper, you're usually allowed to use a calculator. You can see here we can use a calculator. Let's get straight into it. So in section A, we've got our multiple choice. So first of all, question 1, which number is missing? So they're trying to see in this sequence, how do we get this missing number here? And you would try to see usually, are you adding numbers? Are you multiplying? This one you can kind of clearly see straight away that you're doubling at the bottom here. So 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, but of course it is a fraction, so you've got to try and make it into a fraction. So at the top, 1 times 1 is 1. So you can see every one of these, we're timesing it by a half. So 1 over 8 times a half. So at the top, 1 times 1 is 1. At the bottom, 8 times 2 is 16. And so that is our missing number, 1 over 16. 1.2, which statement is incorrect? So with a question like this, I would usually go through all the number ones that you can kind of work out and rule those out first, and then you can get to the more wordy statements. So in A, the only prime factors of 24 are 2 and 3. So let's work out the prime factors. So 24 is the same as 2 times 12, and 12 is the same as 2 times 6, and 6 is the same as 2 times 3. And so these are our prime factors. So we can see the only prime factors are 2s and 3s. So that statement is correct. The second statement says the difference between -8 and 3 is 11. So you could check this and you could say 3 take away 11. What does that give me? And it does give me -8. So that is correct. The other way to check this, obviously you've got a calculator, so that is easy to check, but you could also draw a number line and say -8 and 3. And work out how many jumps. So -7, -6, -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. It's 11 jumps. So you can see that difference is 11. So that one is also right. And then, like I said, we maybe don't know the word one yet. So let's check D first. And D says that the cube root of -27 is a rational number. So you can obviously put this into your calculator and you'll get -3, or you should know that anyway. And -3 is a rational number. So that one is correct. Just to recap, so rational numbers are numbers like this. They're ones where the decimals don't carry on forever. So if you got an answer like -3.9821 and it just carried on forever, that would not be a rational number. Anyway, but this one is fine. And so that means, so statement C has to be the one that is incorrect. And if we have a look at statement C, it says all integers are natural numbers. So let's just check. So natural numbers are our counting numbers. So 1, 2, 3, and so on. Integers is negative and positive. So it's -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and so on. They are saying that all of these integers are natural numbers. We can see that's not true because integers have these negative numbers, which are not natural. Okay, so this one's answer is C, is incorrect. 1.3, 120 decreased by 5% is equal to. So again, you have a calculator, so first of all, we're going to work out 5%. So 5% of 120. How we work it out is you go 5 divided by 100 times 120, and we get 6. So that's 6 rand. So 120 decreased by this 5% is 120, take away the 6. That is going to give us 114 Rand. 1.4, complete this statement. This is testing our knowledge of squares, cubes, square roots. But again, we have a calculator, and you might know these anyway. The square root of 144 is 12. 2 squared is 4. And the cube root of 8 is 2. So if we work this out, 12 take away 4 is 8. Add 2 is 10. Question 1.5. This expression has how many terms? So they're trying to trick us here a little bit with this fraction. That's really all that there is to this question. So we've got 1 term, 2 term, 3 term, 4 terms. And really this question is just, like I said, the fraction is there to try trick us. But if it's a fraction like that, it is still 1 term. Because the reason is this can be simplified. So 3x squared over 3x. We can cancel the 3's. We can cancel the x. And so actually that is just x. So that is just 1 term there. Question 1.6, we've got to complete this. 3/4 of this. So what they're testing is that you know when it says of, that just means times. Okay, but what I would usually do with a question like this is I would simplify this part first. Okay, so 1 and 1/3. You have a calculator, so you can just plug this straight in, but let's just show you how we work it out just in case. So I would convert that into a improper fraction first. So 1 times 3 is 3, add 1 is 4. So this is actually the same as 4 over 3. Okay, which means that this expression here is actually going to be 3/4 of 4 over 3 plus 4 over 3. Or 3/4 of 8 over 3. Okay, and then like I said, they're testing that you know that this of means times. And so what we want to work out here is actually 3/4 times 8/3. And when multiplying fractions, it's really straightforward. We just go top times top. 3 times 8 is 24. Bottom times bottom. 4 times 3 is 12. If we simplify this, 24 divided by 12 is 2. Okay, 1.7. How many values of x satisfy this equation? So what I would do is I would multiply this out. Let's try simplify this equation a bit first. So 5 times x is 5x. 5 times -3 is -15. Is equal to -15 plus 5x. Let's get x's on one side and numbers on the other side. So if we take this 5x across, it's going to be 5x minus 5x. And on the other side, we've got -15. When we take this 15 across, -15 becomes +15. And so what we're actually going to find is 5x, take away 5x is 0. -15, add 15 is 0. When you get an answer like this, it means that you've got any x will satisfy this equation. So that means if x is 1, that's right. If x is 2, if x is -5. So it means you've got any number of x's. You've got lots of x's, and so our answer is more than 2. 1.8, which of the following expressions is equal to this? So let's just simplify this and see if it's equal to any of these expressions. So here they're testing, do we know when we got to add what we add? So 3p squared, we can add that to this 2p squared. Okay, because the squares are the same. So 3p squared plus 2p squared, that's 5p squared plus 2p and p, that's going to be 3p. And we can see this is the same as c. They're just checking there that you're not adding things with different powers. So we only add, these are to the power of 2, so we add those ones. And these are to the power of 1, so we add those ones together. 1.9. If x is 3 and y is minus 2, then what is the value of this? So we just need to plug in these values. So minus 2 times x. So they said x is 3. And y is minus 2 to the power of 4. So let's keep this part the same for now. And then work out negative 2 to the power of 4. So that means it's going to be minus 2 times minus 2. That is 4. 4 times minus 2 is minus 8. And minus 8 times minus 2 is 16. And then negative 2 times 3, so that's 6 times 16. And we do have our calculators. So we can see 6 times 16 is 96. And you can see actually here I forgot this negative sign because it was minus 2 times 3. So we keep that negative sign, so it should then be that negative 96. Okay, and then 1.10, a watch keeps exact time, but it only has an hour hand. When the hour is 2/5 of the distance between 4 and 5, the correct time is. So first we need to work out what is 2/5 of the hour. That means an hour is 60 minutes. So we need to work out what is 2/5 of 60. Okay, and when you're working out something like this, what you can do is you go 60 divided by the bottom number times by the top number. So 60 divided by 5 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24, which means that it's going to be 24 minutes past 4. So that's all the multiple choice questions. Then we move on to the slightly longer questions. So question 2, write 6 factors of this number. So 84. So let's just break it down like we would in a prime factor tree. I find that's always the easiest because we can just divide by 2 to start. So 84 divided by 2, that's going to be 2 times 42. 42 divided by 2 is 2 times 21. 21, we can break it into 3 times 7. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 factors here. Okay, 1 is a factor, 2 is a factor, 3 is a factor, 7 is a factor, 21 is a factor, and 42 is a factor. There's 6 factors. The only thing that was tricky about this one would be to include 1 as a factor because it's not in your prime factor tree, but 1 is always a factor. Okay, 2.2. Using prime factors, find the lowest common multiple and the highest common factor for these two numbers. So first of all, let's find their prime factors. So 98. You can say that's 2 times 45 and 4, 49. 49, we can say that's 7 and 7. Okay, so the factors of 98, the prime factors, we've got, sorry, let's just write it like this. 98 is 2 times 7 times 7. And then if we do the same for 70, So 70 is 2 times 35. And 35 is 5 times 7. So these are our prime factors here. Okay, and then once we've worked this out, we would use these to then find the highest common factor and the lowest common multiple. So the highest common factor, what we do is we look at what are factors that are common to both numbers. So we have 2 in both of them, and we have 7 in both of them. So the highest common factor is 2 times 7, which is 14. And then if we want the lowest common multiple, what we do is we look at, okay, this number's got a 2, that one's got a 2. This one's got a 7, that one's got a 7. And then we also add in the 5 and the other 7. And we work that out. Okay, so 2 times 7 times 5 times 7. And so we get the lowest common multiple for these numbers is 490. So for the lowest common multiple, you just make sure you don't duplicate. So if you've got 2 in both, you only write it once. Next up, 2.3, divide 300 Rand in this ratio, 1 to 2 to 3. So when we're working with the ratio, first of all, we add this up. So 1 plus 2 plus 3, that is 6. So that's what we're going to divide it by. So 300 Rand divided by 6 is 50. So this is equal to 1 part. Okay, so in this ratio, 1 to 2 to 3, that means we've got 1 part is 50 Rand. So 2 parts is double that. That's going to be 100 Rand. And 3 parts is triple that. So it's going to be 150 Rand. And then just to check that your ratio is fine, you just add these all up to make sure it still adds up to 300. So 50 and 100 is 150, add 150 is 300. Question 3, you write the following in exponential form. So we just count how many 3s we've got, how many 2s we've got. We always want to try and write the smallest number first. So we're going to write the 2s first. So 2 to the power of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just how many 2s are there and then how many 3s are there. Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3 3s. Write the following numbers in correct scientific notation. So this is a really big number, which means it's going to have a positive power. And we always want it to have a decimal place like this. So we want one number and then a decimal place. So to do that, we need to move the decimal from here. 1, 2, 3, 5 jumps. So we're going to have 4.64. We don't need to write all the other zeros, times 10 to the 5, because we moved it 5 spaces and it's a really big number, so it's positive 5. And then if we want to write this one in scientific notation, again, we want to have the decimal point here because we want one number, so 3, and then the decimal. So this one, we're going to move it 1 space backwards. And it's a small number, so it's a negative. So it's going to be 3.32 times 10. We moved it 1 space, so negative 1. Okay, now they give us a substitution question. So if you're struggling with this, that's what this section is, substitution. If x is 2 and y is minus 5, find the value of this. So all we do is sub in these values wherever we see x. So for x is 2 squared plus 3, y is minus 5 squared. And we just work it out. So this becomes 2 squared is 4. Minus 5 squared is 25. 4 times 4 is 16. 3 times 25 is 75. And so we've got 16 add 75. So 91. Question 3.4, simplify the following. So they just want us to multiply this out and then see what we can add together. So let's multiply first. So 12a times 4a. So 12 times 4 is 48. And a times a is a squared. Then 12a times b is going to be 12ab. Then the next part, we've got minus 6b times 7a. That's going to be minus 6 times 7 is 42. A and b is ab. Minus 6b times minus 3b. So a minus and a minus makes positive. 6 times 3 is 18. And b times b is b squared. Here, they were really trying to trick you with this minus. So they just want to make sure that you multiplied with the minus. That's why this one is minus 6 times 7 is minus 42. Minus 6 times minus 3 makes positive 18. And then we just got to simplify where we can. So in this case, the a squared, there's no other a squared term. So we have to leave it like that, 48a squared. But here we've got this 12ab minus 42ab. Those are the same. So we can say 12, take away 42. Is negative 30 ab plus 18b squared. And that is as simple as we can go. And then 3.5, for each of the stories given, write down an algebraic expression. So Cheppy has a bag with 8 apples. So let's say the apples are x. And 8 bananas, let's make them y. George has 1 less apple than Cheppy. Okay, so 1 less apple. So he had 8 apples. George has 1 less, so he has 7 apples. And 3 more bananas. So Cheppy had 8. George is going to have 3 more than that, so he's going to have 11 bananas. How many apples and bananas do they have all together? So that's just going to be Cheppy's 8 plus George's 7. And we can simplify again, so we add the x's. So we've got 15 apples, so 15x, and 19 bananas. And that is as far as we can go with this one. Question 4. Sipo works at a juice bar. He earns 35 Rand an hour. Complete the table below. So we can see if he works 1 hour, he gets 35 Rand. If he works 2 hours, he gets 70. If he gets 3 hours, then he's going to get 105. If he works 7 hours, so every time you're just going 1 times 35 gives me this. 2 times 35 gives me this. 3 times 35. And so it's the same thing here. So 7 times 35. He gets 245 Rand. 10 times 35, he gets 350. And so if you want to go the other way, 490, if you want to get or how many hours it was, you divide it by 35. So 490 divided by 35 is 14. 700 divided by 35 is 20. Write down a formula to express or to represent how much money Sipo earns in M if he works for N hours. So his money is equal to 35N. Okay, because it's always his money is his hourly rate of 35 times the number of hours, which is N. 4.2. Given this polynomial, what is the degree of the polynomial? So the degree is just the highest power. And we can see the highest power here is x to the 6. So this is 6. Give the coefficient of x4. So they're just asking what number is in front of x4. And that number here is -8. Make sure you include that negative. How many terms are in the polynomial? So again, we just see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms in this polynomial. And what is the constant? So what is the number that doesn't have an x next to it? And that one in this case is 10. So only one that doesn't have an x next to it. Question 5. We've got this geometric pattern sequence and they want us to draw the fourth pattern. Okay, so we can see it just goes down and up, down and up, down and up. So this next one is going to be down again. Just going to be something like that. You would draw this whole thing that I've just added onto here. You would draw that whole thing in there. And then fill in the missing input values in the spider diagram. So something take away 5 gives me -3. So that would be 2 take away 5 gives me -3. 3 take away 5 gives me -2. 4 take away 5 gives me -1. 5 take away 5 gives me 0. 6 take away 5 gives me 1. 7 take away 5 gives me 2. And 8 take away 5 gives me 3. Okay, so you just go 2, take away the 5 gives me this number. That's how these ones work. And then the last question is complete the following pattern by drawing in the next term. And so we can see it's just this clover that's flipping. So it's standing upright, then it's to the right. So it's upright, it's to the right, then it's down. So next it's going to be facing this way. And so we just got to draw that in. Something like that. They just want to see that it's facing the right direction. And that is an example of what a test could look like for your term 1 cycle test. Please let me know if you had any questions or if you want me to work through anything else, and I hope it helped.